One of the problems with a lot of static benchmarks is that they have the same set of questions. So some really highly valued benchmarks such as SWE-bench Verified, it first came out in 2023, then got updated in 2024. So we have these questions, these problems that have been put to the LLMs now for a year or two already. So you can see the problem with that is that if they're the same questions, labs can just optimize for these questions and they can just progressively get better and better answer. The way the LMArena solves this problem is that we get a whole set of new prompts all the time. Quite often what we've seen time and time again is that benchmarks such as, for example, MMLU was very popular and very high signal back in 2023, but it became completely irrelevant basically by the end of 23, 24. Then there was MMLU Pro, and it also became irrelevant pretty quickly. I want to say maybe within 6-12 months it basically got released and then got pretty insignificant just because it got saturated. Or GPQA is still hanging in there, but it started off, I think GPT-4 scored somewhere in the range of 30-40%, and now most models score in the kind of 80-90%, and that was probably the natural ceiling that they get. So we don't have that problem. So our benchmark doesn't saturate because users always come to the platform with harder and harder questions, and they can always select which response was better.
75% of all prompts are fresh or novel compared to the previous day. I feel like I ask very redundant and typical common questions, but you're saying that humans actually have more variety?
That's the reality, is that when humans use these models, we get such a broad representations of what humans are actually interested in. And it will be extremely difficult for someone to hire 100 people, 500 people to try and represent the real usage. They would have their own biases. They would be given probably some guidelines of what kind of questions they should be specifying. There's not really good substitute to just getting natural usage from people who come to the platform and use it without any instructions, expectations of what they're supposed to be doing.